Anna, how are you today?
Hi, James.
Hey,
I'm great. It's very hot here. How are you?
it's very cold here. I don't know if you can hear in the background, but my heater is going to heat the house, but uh, it's in the office space. Um, I wish I was warm. Warm would be good.
Yes, it's great. It's 7 o'clock here and it's very hot, very warm, but it's very nice. If you go outside or to walk for a little while, it's just great. It's perfect.
Okay, I'm on my way. Um, since we're talking and waiting, I went to get something to eat, and there was a young man there who had a backpack. And on the backpack, it had the little flags, banderas, right? From Bolivia, Peru, Chile, Argentina.
All those
Uh,
countries are
da, da, da.
probably hit hot.
So he must have gone to each one of those things, right? So he got his food and he was alone and I was alone. So as he walked past, I went like, hello. And so had him sit down at my table and we just started talking about, his experience. Yes. Okay.
But he was Spanish speaker or English speaker?
English speaker, but his Spanish was decent. Yeah, his
Okay,
Spanish was decent.
that's cool.
Look at me saying that, it's probably better than mine. Mejor
Uh,
que,
no,
mejor que
your
el
Spanish
mío.
is perfect. It's almost perfect. You need more practice, but it's really good.
Who can I do that with? ¿Con quién puedo practicar?
With me, James, you can practice with me for sure, and with thousands of Latinos like me that wants to learn English and improve
Right.
our pronunciation for sure.
Great. Do you have any questions? Do you want to do a Spanish lesson, English lesson?
Yeah, sure, why not? But yes, I have a question for sure.
Good.
So, what is this about it, James? Tell
What
us.
is this about? So let me switch the screens here. Um, we are going to be talking to people tonight, answering any questions that people might have. Let me rearrange a couple of the screens here so that we can both be on at the same time with the window. So this week we are starting a free course for the community to help people who might have questions about how to be successful learning Spanish. Now, there's also a course running for people who want to learn how to learn English, right? Hay mucha gente. ¿Cuántas personas tenemos en el programa de becas?
Muchísimas personas, James.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people,
I should be.
they want to learn English, but it's important because they want to change their life. We want to get a better jobs, do better at the university, or help our kids with English. It's very important. We have different motivation, but everything is the same. The
Yes.
goal is learn English.
Of course, right. So, for the English speakers who might be watching this now or later, we are also doing a program totally in Spanish for the people in the United States, Central and South America, so all of America, who want to improve their English. And you all are going to be, hello, Ushia, better life, absolutely. The English speakers who might watch this, you're going to be helping some Spanish speakers to improve their English, and that is why they are going to be so helpful for you to help you improve your Spanish. So what we're doing this week is a 4-part free workshop to help people get past some of the hurdles that they might be encountering trying to get off the ground and speak Spanish. what is so common, let me bring up this success path. There is a document that is in the free workshop, lesson number 1 workshop, that Anna created for us. So she did this beautiful document for everybody, and the main thing is this this target success path, going from knowing your why out to actually meeting Spanish speakers. So now some people might have seen a couple of different versions of this. There is another one which is a very simple graphic that we have used to teach. And then there's also a more involved Spanish success path. It has a lot more description. It's more of a linear path. But for this training, I decided to do a target idea because each part of this builds on the previous part. And I describe all of that in the main video that goes with lesson 1 for the free workshop. So, Anna, when you look at this success path graphic, what do you think? What does it make sense to you? Does it?
Yes, absolutely. It makes sense. And what I see here, it's just short step, just 5 steps, your wide parts, how to learn, how to practice, where to meet people. So, when you're learning a language, the thing is, really, you need to learn vocabulary, grammar, but then it's terrible when you have to talk with a real person and you are just stuck. You are thinking what you want to say, but you are not able to express, with
Yes.
words that have a conversation. It's frustrating, really. It's like, oh my God, I spent like 2 years learning vocabulary, grammar, and nothing happened when finally I have to speak with somebody. But what I like about this, it shows you the important step or concept that you need to keep in your mind and you need to work on it. And here, where to meet Spanish speakers. Probably that is the thing. Somebody that help me, James. Somebody to practice with.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
Somebody
So
to practice
that
with.
is the biggest fear that most people have, that we all have, is finding somebody to practice with. We think, I don't want to bother them, or they're too busy, or maybe they don't like me, right? Maybe they don't like white people. I don't know,
Yes, I understand. Those are very common fears, really. It's about, what if you don't like me, or I don't like you?
Right.
Those things, or if you are a bad person, or, how can I be sure that you are a good guy,
Right. Yes.
Yes.
And so in Module 5 of this training, and actually I'm going to really focus on this in the next lesson, in lesson 2, I'm going to really focus on this idea of how to meet somebody to practice with. It's so important. It's like the most critical stage. And so I've devoted an entire lesson to changing how people think about meeting somebody. And it's so simple. It's so simple. Instead of thinking about asking somebody to help you speak Spanish, for the English speakers, right? Think about how much you can help some Spanish speaker with their English. And for the Spanish speakers, they can do the same thing. Anna, you, Ushia, David, Ophelia, all of the people who are in the current group can think about helping English speakers, and that makes it so much easier to connect with somebody. So that's I have seen it change so many. Carlos is here. How are you, Carlos? Maybe
Hola,
you're.
Carlos.
Hola, Carlos. Maybe you'll join the next group.
Yes, and really, it's okay. Let me tell you this. Like a couple of years ago, when I started working with James, it was hard for me express fluently, and he knows that. But he was very kind, and no comments from him. Okay, I didn't receive any comments. But the thing is, without any materials, without learning vocabulary or grammar, just talking, asking him, okay, help me with this, or what is the word for this? How would I pronounce this? Just with talking with him, my English changed. It's not perfect. We are learning.
We are learning
We
together. I
Yeah.
think. Look at
But
you.
it's comfortable because I don't feel it's not an uncomfortable time. I can ask me. It's not. I'm not afraid.
Well,
It's
look
not
at
about
you.
time.
Look at you right now. What are you doing right now? You're doing a Facebook
So
Live
cute.
in English. A Facebook Live in
Yes.
English.
Yes.
¿Cuántos, ok, para los hablantes de inglés, cuántas personas quieren hacer un Facebook Live totalmente en español? ¿Sí? Is how many English speakers right now would feel comfortable doing a Facebook Live totally in Spanish? And that's what Anna is doing in the reverse.
Yes. It's great. It feels great, and it's a goal. It was because right now I can say I speak Spanish, I speak English, and it's just easier. I don't need to think. I don't need to translate in my mind.
Uh-huh.
It's natural.
So what
Yes.
you're talking about right now, your goal, okay, that's the inside of this target success path. And that's where everything starts, right? That's the training actually in a little bit in lesson 1, but I really talk about it a lot in lesson 4, is everything comes back to why, your goal, your mission. And what I mean by that is, and I use me as an example, like my motivation is to travel, right? So it's not specifically that I want to speak Spanish, it's that I want all of those benefits that speaking Spanish will bring to me when I travel or when I meet new people. I love to meet new people and other cultures. So my why is not speak Spanish, it's speak Spanish to be able to travel with confidence. For other people, it's, for example, for their job, right? And I would like, for the Spanish speakers, probably more than 90% tell us that when we say, why do you want to speak English? What is their answer?
For work.
For work, right. To get a better job, to have more opportunities, to open up these things, right? But what we try and do is we try and help them focus, just like this target. We try and help them focus on a more specific why. So not just a better job, but for example, with Ushia, she might say, no, I want to speak English because I work in the hospitality industry, hotels, restaurants, tourism. And so I really want to help my customers understand how beautiful Nicaragua is, right? So her motivation, even though in general it's work, she can make a very specific motivation And what does that do for you? It helps you focus on each one of these rings in the target as we come out. When you know your exact motivation, then you can focus on exactly the vocabulary you want to start with. Of course, someday you want to be able to just talk about anything. You want to be fluent and have a huge vocabulary, right? But when you're beginning, it's so rewarding when you can talk about your specific mission or your specific goals. So for Lucia, it might be for tourism, right?
Yeah, this is step by step, little by little, like your graph.
Yes.
Is start with the most important things and then just continue with other things. It's
Yes.
If you have priorities, if you say this is for my job and I need to learn this vocabulary or these phrases to do better, it's great. And then you focus on something else. When you finish with that, you're ready for the next words, the next vocabulary. So.
That is the next ring in the puzzle. That's the next thing is foundation and practice, and then you cannot learn everything at one time. I
But
know.
James, these are important concepts. These are important advices. Okay, with this training you are talking about this. Okay, and we forget that. Okay, we want magic pill.
We
How you
do.
always
We
say.
want a
We
magic
want a
pill.
magic pill, and okay, in 1 week I want to be able to learn a new language. That is not possible.
I see.
Okay.
I see websites that advertise learn Spanish in 3 weeks. There are some things that you can do in 3 weeks. Of course, you can learn a certain amount of greetings, or to say hello, or hola, ¿cómo estás? Hola, ¿qué tal? You can learn those things in a day, right? But that's not the same as being able to have a conversation with somebody with confidence, right?
Yeah, then the thing is when you do this, then you forget that very quickly. You
Very
don't
quickly,
remember
yes.
those things because it's like when you go to do a test at high school or university, then you are reading a student very quickly, trying to get everything, and 2 days later, you don't know anything. You don't remember.
Cramming.
Yes.
So we have
Yeah.
a word. We have a word for that.
Okay, tell me. I want to know.
It's called cramming for a test. To cram means to like pack full. So if you have a basket or a bottle or a jar, you will cram things into it to pack it really tight. So when we cram for a test, we're trying to push as much information into our brain as we can before the test. And then
yes, I had bad
after the test,
experiences.
it goes pop, it's gone. So
Oh my God, at university, that happened with me. It was hard because a lot of things that you are, oh my God, I need to read like 100 pages and be expert in this. And then you don't remember anything.
right, I agree. So that is one of the things about learning a language, and something else that I tell in this success path is when you learn a new language, you literally become smarter. You're smarter if you're bilingual. Isn't that cool? And
Of course it is. Oh, I love that.
of
So,
course, we all love that, right? Because we're
yes,
doing it.
sure. Así
No,
es, para los hispanos que nos están viendo, cuando hablamos
sí,
un segundo idioma, somos mucho más listos.
sí,
Ya está.
inteligente, porque realmente, en serio, because your brain is literally growing new connections, new synapses within the brain to process the new language, but you can use those new connections for other jobs also, not just for the language, but to think about, if you want to know how to connect this cable, right? when you're bilingual, you can think of more than one way to connect it, for example, right?
Yes.
Which I think is fascinating.
And to me, the most special thing is when you can switch immediately. You're speaking English and then shoot.
Cuando estamos talking in...
Oh my God, this is a great experience. Yes.
Anna is a lot better at that than I am, right? Sometimes she doesn't know what language she's speaking, right?
Yes. So continue, because this is very interesting. So
the
Okay.
the third step here, how to learn a language, the model, method, and materials, and little by little. So actually, Anna, these two are reversed. Little by little should be in the yellow, and model, method, and materials should be in the blue. Oops.
We will fix it.
We'll fix that. Sorry. Sorry, everybody. I messed that up. So how to practice is before you find somebody to practice with, it's kind of nice if you know what you're going to do with them, like have a method for how to practice. And this is so important that is lesson number 3. I dedicate lesson number 3 in this free workshop to how to practice with somebody. And we also share the graphic, the entire like ShareLingo method graphic to tell people the 4 parts of how to practice together effectively, so that when you come together with your practice partner, you know exactly what to do to make the most out of your practice time together. And this is really important. When Anna and I are talking, we do not do like 30 minutes in English and then 30 minutes in Spanish. Because if you come back to how to learn a language little by little, right? If you do 30 minutes of pure Spanish conversation with somebody, that sounds great, right? It's like, wow, I got to practice Spanish for 30 minutes, right? But what happens is you get so much that it's really hard to remember any of it, right?
Yes.
Yes. So what you want to do is go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, English, Spanish, English, Spanish, English, Spanish, and hold on.
Yes, and it's tired, really. It's really tired. A long session, just be just Spanish or just English. But if you you have a good balance, or you're not thinking that you need to have 1 hour specifically to practice Spanish, it's much better.
And this is one of the most important things you can have, is an actual paper book, a journal, right? We all love to use our phones, and we love to, and your phone has some great apps to help you do this. Duolingo is a great app to help you improve your vocabulary, and Duolingo has a free flashcard app called Tiny Cards that can help remind you every day to practice more words. I love those. I'm not saying apps are bad, although they can slow down your progress if you only use apps. But there is nothing better than real paper, right? Every day, I would say every day, I see Anna write down some word in English, right? Don't you do that?
Yes, I do that, and especially when I don't know the right pronunciation. This is something that I do. Like, for example, I remember this always, like volcano, the word volcano. To me, before James, it was like volcano or something like that. but volcano or volcane, but no volcano. So what I
Right.
do is write in my journal how it sounds for me. Volcano, but in Spanish, okay? Because
Uh-huh.
to me it's just easier to remember that. And then I can look again and okay, it's this way. So it helped me a lot. Or when I want to remember a specific vocabulary, if I write that, it's easier to remember that.
Yes, absolutely. So even if you have apps on your phone to remind you or to write down words, there's so many things. One of the things I really encourage people to use is the voice recorder. So on my phone, I have the voice recorder app right here at the very top middle of my screen. That is the voice recorder, because if you're out, you can do a voice recording of things that you want to that pop into your mind. Like when you're driving, you can record a little voice note, right? That's great. But then come back and write it. Actually write it. And there's a reason for that. It's part of that. In language learning, there are many ways that people learn. Not just language learning, but any kind of learning. And when you combine physical activity with your learning, you learn better, right?
Yes.
Yes. So we want to help people do that. Does anybody have any questions here? Better Life. Hi, guys.
No. No question. So.
Okay. So the next thing tomorrow is Wednesday, and we will be releasing lesson number 2, right? And lesson number 2 is all about how to find somebody to practice with. It's a big deal.
Yes. You know what happened with the current students in ShareLingo. We did 3 weeks of practicing together. So the ShareLingo student, they can select during these 3 weeks a specific date and time to do practice, with other students. So the idea is Spanish speaker with English speaker.
Yes.
Some of those did this, and they were happy, really happy. Okay.
Uh-huh.
But others, because they was working or doing something, it wasn't possible. Okay. And in that moment, what I saw was like a sad face. Okay,
Yes.
like, oh my God, I lost this opportunity. No, because we continue. We are with them, and we will continue doing this because this is what ShareLingo is. It's about
It's a community.
practicing together, right? So we have a 12-month program to do that. But
Yes.
the thing here is they were really sad.
Yes.
Why? Because they know how important it is to have somebody to practice with. So if I want to learn, for example, French, for me right now it's really impossible because I don't know anybody that speaks French. So how I'm going to, okay, I can start with Duolingo, okay, and learn enough vocabulary, but I really need somebody to correct me to practice. But I don't know anybody to do that. Mm-hmm. It's the same. Mm-hmm. We really need it. From a mistake.
So when you're ready to do that, you can follow this exact success path with French. Think about why you want to learn French. You already understand the 2 parts of the funnel, right? The 2 parts of the puzzle.
Yes.
Of course. You already know the method, the ShareLingo method. So you know how to practice with somebody. And that means that you can get onto like a forum, like a website that has French speakers who want to learn English or Spanish in your case, right? either one, because you can help them learn English or you can help them learn Spanish.
Yeah. Yes.
How
This is
lucky are
the.
you?
This is very critical, Ria. Um, and it's really important and to have the opportunity to practice with somebody. It's valuable because it's hard. It's really hard to
So
get confident.
let's come back to the lesson. When you are ready to find your French speaker, what are you going to do? Are you going to ask them to practice French with you, or?
No,
What?
I will ask him to. I will help him or her with Spanish or English.
Easy, right?
Easy.
You go to the websites and you say, "Hey, I can help you speak Spanish, or I can help you speak English. Is anybody here speak French? I can help you." Right? It's so easy.
Yes.
It's such a simple concept.
Yes, it is.
Why are there not 10,000 other organizations that do ShareLingo?
While we are working, I want to go to Facebook and find a group, and tell them, okay, I'm here. Who needs help? Really, this is a great motivation to know that you can just go to some place and say, I can help you with Spanish reading. Can we practice together? It's easier, really.
And to be able to say, I have a method. I have a way for us to practice together. It's from ShareLingo, but
Yes.
it's a method that works to practice together. Absolutely.
Yes. So,
Okay.
Jess, when are you going to start with French?
I'm ready. I'm ready to start French. I need a native French speaker if somebody is watching.
We are really ready.
They can help us translate the materials to French. All of our materials are bilingual, so English on one side, Spanish on the other. So we can do that with English French or Spanish French and make bilingual materials. And we could do ShareLingo for French, for sure. Okay. Je ne parle pas le français.
Oh my God. That's a bit more.
Don't tell me more. Okay. All right. I think we're going to let it go for now. And thank you for joining me here this evening to have a chat. If there are any people who have questions, you can also put questions into the comments here on this Facebook Live post. And we'll check in the next couple of days. We'll kind of read the posts and see if there's any other questions from anybody. And since this free training will be running all week, we'll probably do another question and answer session on Friday or Saturday, to see if there are questions at that point. I'm pretty pleased that there are not a lot of questions, because that means that what I was describing in the video makes sense, right?
So maybe, this is the same thing when you are at school, elementary or high school, and the teacher asks you, somebody has question.
And it's like,
Nobody
no.
saying anything.
Right.
So why? Because they know everything, or because they don't know?
Maybe that's
they are
it.
afraid to ask.
Is, people, either they already know the answer because my teaching, my training was so great, or they're afraid to ask the questions.
No, James is a great teacher, so I'm sure everything is clear. So James, before we finish this, I think it's possible to share this page that you have where they can go and do this free training.
Right. So the main thing, let me expand the screen here so that it shows up in normal mode. I'm going to switch over to a different thing here. So there's the number one thing is just to begin, go to iShareLingo.com free-Spanish-success-workshop. Free Spanish Success Workshop. I don't know that we can make it any easier than that, right? And how to make speaking Spanish easy. Basically, you can watch this introduction video if you want to, but all you have to do is just click on the button and put in your name. It can be just your first name and the email address that you want us to send the links to for the training, because we need to send you the 4 modules by email to link you to the training. So just put in your email address, and then you will automatically go to the first lesson, lesson number 1. And then as of tomorrow, lesson number 2 will also be available about specifically meeting Spanish speakers. Lesson number 1 came out yesterday, and that's the Spanish Success Path that we just looked at. And lesson number 3 will come out on Friday. And that will explain everything you need to know about how to practice with people. And then in lesson number 4, we have a couple of goals with lesson number 4 is to talk about your motivation, your why, to really talk about what is your why for speaking Spanish. But we're also going to share ShareLingo's why, ShareLingo's mission, why we are providing this free training, why we exist in the first place, like to help connect cultures, to break down barriers, to help people with different religions and different genders and different skin colors all be friends with each other. So that's our why.
Yes, I love that mission. It's important.
I think it's important too. Our world needs more friends, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, but it's so amazing to say, I have a friend in the United States, or Nicaragua, or Argentina, Bolivia, Spain. It's amazing. And to learn a new language is amazing, because I always think that you can sing in a new language.
Right.
And it's so amazing also.
I agree. I can, the people that I have practiced English and Spanish with in Colombia, in Nicaragua, in Panama, in Spain, have become friends, even though I've never met a lot of these people face to face. They send me messages sometimes, like have a great day, or if it's their birthday, I'm going to write and say happy birthday, feliz cumple, or whatever. It's just a little connection. And I absolutely know that if I go visit these countries, they will be happy to see me, And of course, if they come here, I will be very happy to welcome them into my world. Yeah. That's cool. When are you coming?
Cool.
When are you coming?
I'm not sure. I think you will come first.
Yeah, we are talking about that. Wow, we've been talking for a while, but might as well keep going. We are. I don't think anybody is going to watch 40 minutes of this video and get to this stage anyway. So, but we might as well tell people that we are planning a trip to Nicaragua. It might be in May. Ushia, you're on here. Write to me. Do we have something planned for May? Are we ready to go? Anna,
but yes.
do a voicemail to Ushia, okay?
Yes, I did that. It's great because so Anna is in another room in this house, and so I just need to Anna, where are you?
Exactly. So when this is Nicaragua voicemail. That's when they yell from one room to the other room in the same house.
Yes, but it's just fun. It's a good job. So
Yes.
now this is like the voicemail from 20 years ago.
That's right.
No phones, anything. Just hey, and when we was trying to send a WhatsApp message, with piece of paper.
Right. This was WhatsApp. This is WhatsApp.
Exactly.
Yes, you put it, you write a note, you put it on the refrigerator, and when they come, they see the note, right?
Yes,
What's up?
no, that was the calendar, the reminder. Oh my God. Yes, amazing. Okay, James, this was really nice.
It was fun. All right, thank you for your help tonight. Thank you to the people who joined in and anybody else who has questions if they have time to watch this. We're going to share this video into the Becca group and also the ShareLingo group for those people. Okay? ¿Algo más?
Feliz noche.
Feliz noche. Okay. I'm going to end this. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.